Hey, it's Tim.
And it's Amy from GoWithLess. If you are brand new to our channel, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. Each Wednesday, we put out one travel-oriented video, and today's video is going to be about the top 5 Airbnb mistakes that we have learned probably the hard way.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true.
We've already stayed at 19 Airbnbs, and it has been a total game changer for us. We love Airbnb, but we have made enough mistakes on Airbnb. We're going to share our tips and tricks with you. In 2020, we're planning to use Airbnb a lot when we travel the world full time. So those tips and tricks will come in handy for us too. If you're interested in travel hacking, in international house sitting, in budget travel, in travel period, in people who are obsessed with talking about food, then please subscribe to our channel over here because we come to you every single Wednesday with a new video. Thanks for watching, and let's get into it. Our number one trick is paying too much per night for amenities that you may not need every day. We love having lunch and dinner when we're out in new places. We do often have breakfast at our Airbnb, and that's often yogurt and fruit, something like that. Maybe it's a roll from the grocery store. We don't need a full kitchen for that, and to pay a premium per night to have a full kitchen might be overkill if we're not planning to cook food in our room.
Another thing that we found ourselves potentially paying too much for is access to a washing machine and sometimes a dryer. So if you're paying, say, $10 extra a night to have access to a washing machine, and you're at a place for 7 nights, that's $70. Well, obviously $70 invested in having access to a washing machine probably isn't a great use of your money if you're only going to use that once. If you intend to use the washing machine every day you're there, well, maybe it's worth the extra $10 a night. We like the idea of having a washer, but
we don't want to pay a lot.
We don't want to pay a lot for it.
That's right. And if you're staying for 1, 2, 3 nights, maybe having a higher per night cost when you're only staying for 1 or 2 nights, that might be a no-brainer because it is extremely convenient to have laundry in your apartment. However, if you're there for a whole week, that is a really expensive load of laundry. Another thing we're going to put in this category is air conditioning. Many places around the world, air conditioning is not part of their culture. So you are paying a huge premium to have access to air conditioning. If you're somebody who is okay sleeping a little hot, maybe you save some money because a place with air conditioning is often much more expensive, especially in Europe, as we just experienced ourselves. So consider, are you going to need air conditioning at this time of year? Hopefully, if it is like shoulder season and it's not hot or it's the winter wherever you're going, hopefully they're not charging a premium for air conditioning. Just keep in mind, you're going to be paying extra for all of these perks, and if you're a value traveler, something you really might want to consider.
Our second biggest mistake is not reading between the lines when it comes to the reviews. So certainly you want to spend a lot of time reading every review that exists on a given property. But what we've learned through our experience is that people have a hard time actually saying bad things because I've actually stayed with the homeowner, I've met the homeowner.
And they're nice people.
And they're nice people. So it's like if there's something where you want to mark a place down because it's not super clean or it happens to be noisy or things like this, they may have given the property 5 stars, but there are clues in the reviews that make you think that this isn't the cleanest place or it's not going to be the quietest place. So it's very important to read between the lines. Read every review and read between the lines when you are reading those reviews.
If you want a good experience. So if you don't care about your experience and it's just a place to lay your head, then you can skip this one. We want a nice, clean place. And if something says, Airbnb has those stars up at the top, so if it's not 5 stars on cleanliness, I probably will keep moving because, again, that is important for us that we're in a nice, clean place. And what it means is that if it's not 5 stars clean, it's probably not clean. So it's not like mostly clean, it's probably not clean. So something to consider is when anything is like a little ding on those stars up top or a little mention in a review, take those as big red flags because this is not the same as TripAdvisor or Yelp where it's like a very faceless kind of review. This is a face-to-face with someone that you've had a personal connection with and maybe shared a meal with. So it's going to be a very different kind of a review than other reviews. Our third tip is a little confusing potentially to explain, so hopefully you stick with me. I'm going to read a definition off of the Airbnb app about an entire place versus a private room versus a shared room. An entire place, have a place to yourself. A private room, have your own room and share some common spaces. And a shared room, stay in a shared space like a common room. The third one, we are not considering. You're sharing you're in like a couch or sharing something in someone's space. As far as we understand, that's something as a couple, we're not open to that. However, it's the first two. In the very beginning, when we started with Airbnb, maybe 5 years ago, we only looked at entire places. I'm going to kind of rat out Tim a little bit here. When we met over 10 years ago, he would only stay at like an American style hotel like a Marriott. He had a lot of experience with that. He was a regular traveler, but he wasn't open to like an Airbnb. He'd never been to a bed and breakfast at all, not just an Airbnb. He'd never been to a bed and breakfast. So convincing him to go check out Airbnb was a little bit of convincing. And then I learned that private spaces versus entire spaces can be much cheaper. And I got Tim's hot button with much cheaper.
Yeah, not only, so something also, if you actually read that definition, the second definition, the shared space, it's just like a hotel. So basically, we've actually stayed at a place
in Panama
that was very much like a hotel situation. It had multiple rooms. It had a shared place for breakfast and things like that. We had our own bathroom. So it was virtually a hotel, but it comes up in this shared space category
Not shared space, private space.
Private space, my apologies. Private space category. And so, again, this is something we were completely marking off the list before. We wanted our completely dedicated space. Now, we've learned through time, number one, it's going to be more affordable to have a private space. And also, there's some unique experiences that we've had in these private spaces. Even when it's a room in someone's home and you have your own private bathroom, that we're open to that now, and not being open to that before, I think, excluded us from a lot of value, and it also excluded us from a lot of amazing experiences.
If you're somebody who does want a lot of privacy, I'm going to mention 3 things that we've had that are considered a private space, not an entire space, but have been unbelievably private. We had a full floor in a Brooklyn brownstone with our own entrance, our own bathroom, 100% our own. We never saw the homeowner unless we wanted to engage and be friendly with them. Totally our own space. That was called a private space and not an entire space. We also had a casita in San Diego of a freestanding, almost like a converted, really awesome, it was probably like a garage, to be honest, but it didn't feel like a garage. It was a really homey little space in San Diego, but there was a kitchen space.
Kitchenette.
Like in the back. It was a very cool situation, totally private if we wanted privacy, our own bathroom again. This was also called a private space. So sometimes you're in the middle of someone's home and it isn't as private. What we're suggesting here is that you read through the description, but if budget is on your radar, you may want to consider adding private space to your searches to still have a private space and pay a little bit less. I hope that made sense. If not, please ask below.
I've made a huge shift in my mindset in hotels versus Airbnb. We actually prefer Airbnb to a hotel, and we like it for a lot of reasons, including the idea that it's often cheaper. However, it is not always the least expensive option, and so this is something we found over time. There are many places where we've gone where we could actually find a hotel that's less money than Airbnb. So our fourth mistake is not looking at hotels, just assuming that Airbnb is going to be a more affordable option. So you need to search the world of lodging whenever you're looking for a place to stay and not just assume that Airbnb is going to be the most affordable option.
Our 5th tip here is not assuming that Airbnb is like a hotel when it comes to checking in or checking out. This past summer, we arrived to a town in France at 5 in the morning after an all-night bus ride with almost zero sleep. We were exhausted, and the owner of the Airbnb had young kids in school. She said that we would meet you at the apartment that you rented at 8:30 in the morning, which was unbelievably kind and generous and amazing. However, we didn't want to wait until 8:30 in the morning with our luggage after we were so tired. So she offered us the chance to go to her home and grab the keys. And so we walked a couple miles with all of our luggage at 5 in the morning after no sleep. That's a little bit crazy. If you had a hotel, there's a front desk. You can store your stuff. Even if you can't get into your room, you don't have to be schlepping your stuff around town all day like we did. So we've had a lot of experiences where we have to leave at a specific time of day so that the homeowner can let us out or let us in and give give us the whole spiel of the property. Just something to be aware of. Hopefully that's kind of obvious, but something to consider if you're coming and going at weird times, or if you're not extremely flexible yourself, you may need to be flexible around the homeowner's schedule.
The takeaway from that should be that logistics are the thing to be concerned with here. With a hotel, they're going to be there 24/7. You can show up at any time and it's going to be okay. With an Airbnb, you have to understand that these are people who have jobs and have lives, and so flexibility is different, although in some cases it can be better, but flexibility is going to be, or logistics are going to be a little different when it comes to Airbnb versus a hotel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Every Wednesday we're back with more travel-related content.
Yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe over there in the corner to get our Wednesday video each week to your mailbox. And the comment this week, have you stayed in any Airbnbs? Have you found what we're saying to be true? Do you have other mistakes of your own to be adding? Have you stayed away from Airbnbs because you are kind of unsure about this whole situation? Please pop down below a comment about your experience with Airbnbs, good, bad, or ugly. And recommendations and questions are always encouraged. We'll answer all of those. If you'd share this on your social media, we would be eternally grateful. And until next Wednesday, we'll see you.